Guff's first ship ride with me was as I expected. The little one was rather loud, very excited with how high up he was from the planet's surface. His hands and face had smudged the window, much to my disgust. He had forgotten several times that he was supposed to be directing me somewhere. "We're awfully far away from the Diamond Mountains, Guff," I said as I landed my ship near the same beach as before.
"I know!"
Guff exclaimed. "It's dark. You need light, as you said yourself."
"It's okay. I've been in the dark before. Permatians can go a day without light before beginning to starve."
Guff blinked and bit his lip.
"But I'm a baby, so for me it's an hour. An hour is still a long time, though."
"I'll keep that in mind. Eros, keep track of the time."
"Yes, sir,"
Eros said, looking at Guff with curiosity. Guff was the first to exit the ship. He had also been the first to get on board. He spun in the air several times as usual before dropping himself onto the sand belly first.
"The beach! The Nidleys! The Nidleys are down there!"
I wrinkled my brow.
"That's what I was talking about."
Guff explained, twisting himself around to sit up and face Eros and I.
"There are these glowing bugs underground here. They're supposed to come out soon. These things are so important, Syss. While they sleep under here, they absorb something from the planet's core that we can't reach. And they turn it into their own kind of light energy. We call it Nidlight. The Nidleys sleep for a year, and then they wake up, hatch out of the ground, and fly all the way around the planet for food and mating before they dig back under here and go back to sleep for a year again. They glow really bright when they fly. That's how they spread their energy outside of Permata after taking it from inside of Permata. It purifies our soil, our food, our water, our skin, and gives us a boost of nutrition or something. Nidlight is a really super healthy thing, and it's supposed to make us feel really good and strong. I'm so excited. I want to know what it feels like. And I want to know what the Nidleys look like. They're supposed to glow different colors. Gosh, if I was born later, I would have to wait a whole year for the Nidleys to come out. I get to see them really soon instead."
I was in awe. Guff was talking about the same creatures Eros had discovered with his X-ray vision before. These creatures had a big purpose. Their long, deep sleep was a part of a cycle. "That's very interesting," I said. "When do the Nidleys come out this year?"
"I don't know."
Guff pressed one side of his face against the sand as if to listen for any sound underneath.
Mama says it's never exact, but it's always around a year, and the anniversary of last year is in 3 days.
He withdrew from the ground and stared at it.
"Hello in there, Nidleys. Could you come out early? Is the absorption finished, you guys?"
He was met with no response. Despite this, he giggled, tilting his head playfully at the sand beneath his chest. "Let's not wait around to see," I said. "Let's get you somewhere bright, Guff." With that big grin I almost never see him without, Guff launched himself in my direction to tackle me in a hug. Hugs were a rare thing to want as an Urkin. I rolled my eyes and simply patted the child's back. His wings were soft. He would not let go even after several moments. "Little goblin," I muttered. Guff laughed and climbed over my face and head.
"Goblin Guff and Sister Syss,"
he said. He slid down my back, much to my discomfort, but I felt him being careful not to tamper with my pack this time. I let him hang this way as I sighed and stepped back into the ship. Now used to the altitude, Guff was able to compose himself better during his second ever ride in my ship, though he was still full of delighted giggles as he watched his world from his sky. "What other creatures on Permata do you know of?" I tried to start. Guff turned to face me.
"Mama told me about Orgos. They're these black and orange things that live on the very bottom of Permata where it's very cold. And then Pearlies. Pearlies live underwater in the ocean. They get their energy from the planet's core just like the Nidleys, except they don't sleep for a long time and they don't fly around the planet and spread the energy. They just swim."
"Are there any particularly dangerous creatures?"
"Dangerous?
Oh, my mistake. As someone who wishes to have an Urkin Invader as an older sibling, you probably don't think anyone is dangerous."
"Unidentified life forms rapidly approaching this way, sir."
Eros quickly reported. I looked to him instinctively.
Where
Eros' second warning was cut short by a squeal of terror from Guff, which was then cut short by a loud, sudden, heavy jolt from my ship as a large figure collided against the bottom. One large claw with 4 fingers clung to my window, surely not to say hello. With a second crash similar to the first, 2 more claws were on my window. Their owners, whatever the rest of them looked like, they were climbing on my ship. My first instant thought was to shake them off before they could even try doing any harm. With the mistake of not warning Eros and Guff beforehand, I thrust the yoke as well as my entire weight to the right, forcing the ship to bank sharply and spiral continuously. I heard the claws scrape the window as they fought to keep their grip. They didn't lose it. These guys were strong. I grunted as I held on. If my ship didn't have anywhere to crash into, I would have kept it this way until it was free from these beasts. But Permata's surface was just a few miles below, and my ship was already at a nosedive. I switched directions to recover it, hoping I would send our attackers flying with the abrupt change in momentum. I heard the bodies beating against the ship as they slipped, struggled, and climbed. The claws moved frantically, but instead of disappearing, they recovered their grip. Then the faces arose. 2 ugly, gator-like faces, both with a long snout and a pair of black eyes glaring at all of us. I did not hesitate to not only glare back, but yell in a rage with all of my teeth showing.
Get off my ship! How dare you!
Surrender!
The monster on the left bellowed, as he and the other opened behind them what appeared to be wings. Triangular like Permatian wings. That explained how they reached us.
Vajras!
Guff cried from behind my chair. He flew up and bounced on top of my head.
Thank you guys! I was trying to think really hard just now. I knew there was something dangerous here. I just couldn't remember. Wow! You're so scary up close. I saw you guys in a picture, but when you're real, you're scary.
Guff!
I barked, shoving him away with one hand.
Eros, fly the ship!
I was not afraid to fight. This would be my first fight outside of training, but I was not afraid. I activated the ship to open its window, the only barrier between the monsters and I. With my pack legs sprouting to join me, I lunged forward, emitting my first ever battle cry against a real opponent. The monsters both snapped their mouths at me, and both missed. I pounced on my ship's front hood right below their jaws, then uppercut the one on my right a second before having to dodge another bite from the left one. With it snapping closed inches beside me, I swiftly clamped around it with my arms and upper body, forcing it to stay shut. With my legs far apart for stability, and like I had with the yoke, I thrust sideways. The large, bulky body I had trapped tightly in my hold was sent swinging clockwise, then slamming into the monster inches behind me, successfully knocking him off my ship. The remaining monster wriggled, found his footing again, then threw his head back in an attempt to fling me away. I used my pack legs for extra support, they too wrapping around the mouth. My body legs were left dangling in the air. My antennae pricked at the approaching sound of large vibrating wings. The monster I had lost for a moment, he was catching up. It was when I caught sight of him in my peripheral vision that he suddenly disappeared again with a cry and a streak of red. Eros's laser vision. When I gave my sir a proud glance, his expression told me he was determined to battle alongside me. Guff was latched onto the chair, staring at me with a new level of awe, his grinning mouth agape. He was witnessing me in real action, and, being less than a week old, what were the chances that he had experienced anything as exciting as this? I couldn't let this infant's face distract me for long. I was still fighting. The monster was now trying to pry me off with his claws. They drove themselves into my side and neck, drawing flag, no doubt, but as for blood, I wasn't sure yet. I retaliated immediately with my pack legs. With 2, I managed to tear the membrane of a wing. I kept the tips touching, and then when they were through the wing, I split them apart, enlarging the slit, and hopefully rendering the monster unable to fly after us anymore. I was rewarded with his muffled roar of pain, then punished with more claw marks. He had a hold of me, trying once again to rip me away from his mouth, which I still had secured closed. Immediately I used my pack legs again, this time channeling my anger and determination into firing lasers from all 4 tips. 2 hit the damaged wing. The other 2 bored new holes into the other wing. This proved to be the monster's downfall. He recoiled in agony and fell from the ship. I let go of the mouth before I could fall with him. I used my pack legs to climb back in the cockpit. I brushed myself off as Eros lowered the window, sealing it back shut with everyone safe again. I sighed deeply, calmly touching my wounds one by one to examine what I would find. Smeared on my hand was only green. The cuts were not deep enough to bleed blood. I would likely heal in a matter of moments.
Gross! What is that?
Guff exclaimed, though he looked fascinated. It's... how do I explain? I muttered. It's like another blood, but only for the skin. There's a lot under every layer. That's sort of the reason why all organs come in shades of green only. It's for repairing wounds much quicker than how your body may. I looked at the child seriously. Guff, do you know those beasts?
Yeah! No! Well, not those ones. I never met a vajra before. I just know they look like that.
Are they just reckless idiots that attack whoever they please for no reason? Is that why they're dangerous?
Vajras eat diamonds, and they eat Permatians.
I inhaled sharply.
Yeah.
Guff said, understanding my reaction.
Weird, huh? My dad hates them like how he hates Urkins, but not as much because they don't want the universe, they just eat us.
What? But how is that not worse?
I sputtered.
I'm not here to eat you Permatians. I've been as nice as an Urkin can be. We're asking you to clash with the Urkins, join the Urkins. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm obviously better than the Vajras. I do not understand your father's mindset, Guff. I do not.
Guff giggled and shrugged. Then he looked out the window, seemingly to check for the 2 attacking Vajras.
That was so cool, Syss. I can't believe it.
He spun back around and bounced, screaming,
You shoot lasers! You fight so good! You were fighting Vajras! I'm riding an Urkin ship with an Urkin and an Urkin robot, and I just saw an Urkin fighting Vajras while riding the ship! I just saw an Urkin and an Urkin robot shoot lasers! Lasers! I love the lasers, Syss!
Silence, silence! That's enough.
My God, you're loud. Eros, how much time does he have?
Approximately 10 minutes, sir.
Eros replied, not averting his gaze from the window, for he was still the one piloting the ship.
Oh, I'm okay. The Diamond Mountains are right over there.
Guff said, pointing to the bright white and blue triangular shapes in the distance. I furrowed my brow. The Vajras live awfully close to your people, I commented.
Oh yeah, they do. They crave diamond stuff and light stuff too. They don't need it like us, but it's their favorite.
I wonder why they attacked us. They couldn't have seen you so easily. Was there something about my ship that attracted them?
I don't know. You can go ask them if you want.
I almost scoffed in disbelief at the suggestion, but then I took a brief moment to think harder about it. I glared, looking back. I should. We landed where we had first taken off with Guff, and once Guff was back on the ground, 2 young voices cried out in relief. The ones I recognized as Guff's peers, Fertley and Truft. Guff skipped over to them, as they did to him.
Guff, you're back!
Fertley cried.
Where did you go?
Truft squealed, grabbing Guff by the arms and shaking him exasperatedly.
Syss took me to the beach.
Guff said,
And then she beat up some Vajras. You should have seen it, you guys. Vajras!
His 2 little friends squeaked in unison.
Yes, Guff told me all about them.
I said as I approached.
You 3 should return home.
We're okay.
Guff assured me, waving a hand vertically.
I told you, I'm okay without grown-ups around. If baby Urkins can take care of themselves, I think I can too.
But you're not Urkin, Guff.
I said warningly. Fertley winced at my tone. Truft darted in front of Guff with his arms outstretched in defense. Guff giggled, however.
You guys are funny, just like the grown-ups. Syss isn't dangerous. She's dangerous if she can beat up a vajra!
Fertly protested.
Well, she didn't beat up any Permatians. She will soon. She's just pretending to be good so that Zarzan will let her have Permata. She's not pretending. I can't be friends with you anymore, Guff. You're crazy!
With that, Fertly started towards the village, struggling to stay airborne. Her flying skills were worse than Guff's. Truft started after her, moving almost as clumsily.
Wait! Fertly, wait! It's not his fault! Don't you know that Urkins are good at brainwashing?
I watched them leave, then looked down at Guff when I heard him sigh in pity.
They're so scared.
He said.
But maybe they'll like you one day.
He embraced my waist, looking up at me with his innocent signature smile present once again. This was not how I expected my first mission to play out. 100 years of hard, cold training, being raised and prepared for hard, cold obstacles, and hard, cold enemies. I was lucky enough to use that experience for at least 1 minute just a little bit ago. But this child, my mission had consisted mostly of him, and he was too loving and sweet. It was starting to have an emotional, unwelcoming effect on me. I wasn't prepared for anything like this. Go home, I said as blankly as I could. Guff let go of me.
Let's fly again soon!
I cleared my throat. Yes. You could tell me about the, Parleys next.
Okay!
Guff took to the air and hugged me again, this time around my chest. One of his little horns reopened one of the wounds on my neck, but he didn't notice. I would have complained as usual, but I held back this time for some odd reason. As Guff flew away, he kicked and punched at the air, spitting his own sound effects, inspired by the battle he had seen, no doubt. I actually felt proud when I saw him try to reenact the uppercut motion, my first strike. He did one of his wobbly flips in the process and fell belly first. Unaffected as usual, he jumped to his feet and continued on, toddling back to his village without a worry.
Fair conditions, sir.
I heard Eros say from behind me. He had been examining the ship.
1 dent and 14 claw marks on the exterior. Nothing major.
I noticed I had been smiling slightly. I forced it away and shook my head into full attention. Right. I faced my ship. Repairs cost nothing for us invaders, fortunately. But even so, I think someone still owes a payment. With that last sentence, I scowled and thumped my fist into the palm of my other hand. During my search for the vajras, I kept the ship parked near the Nidleys beach, hidden with a cloaking device, and locked securely. It was the safest place here that I knew of so far. If I couldn't meet the vajras without a fight, I wanted it to be a fight without a ship to crash. If it were to be an ambush, I would have rathered it surprise me on ground level. The vajras area was a long way from the beach on foot, but nothing Eros and I couldn't handle. I knew we were in the right place. When we were attacked, we were over the only set of acres near the beach, and in the woods we were, surrounded by strangely shaped trees. I requested Eros to scout from the sky, but not at all times, for he needed to conserve his jet fuel. It was after a half hour of hunting when my antennae picked up a whisper while Eros wasn't here. I shifted into a combative stance, tempted to bring out my pack legs as well. More than one voice behind the trees now. I made a whisper of my own into a little radio I brought out with my pack. Eros, return to me, now! To my relief, the radio responded with my sir's voice.
Yes, sir.
After withdrawing the device, I called out warningly.
If you know that I'm an Urkin, then you must know the dangers of challenging one. My robot and I have already injured 2 of you fools. Come out slowly, or suffer.
My aforementioned little sir landed swiftly in front of me, legs and arms far apart in preparation as he looked around to detect what I couldn't see. His body language told me we were completely surrounded save for up above. Bring out Permata.
Permatian child,
said a whisperer from my left.
Diamond child. We sensed, yes.
I didn't come to talk about the child,
I hissed.
I came here to tell you what I told the Permatians. This planet will belong to me. Permata will belong to the Urkin race soon. You'd best wise up and treat me with some more respect. I will tell my leaders what you did to me already. They will have your butts.
One Vajra I didn't recognize as one of the attacking ones revealed itself entirely from the trees and shadows, presumably a female. She spoke slowly, her voice raspy and wicked.
Urkins come, Urkins rich. Much monies, much flavor. Catch you, first Urkin. Eat you. More Urkins come. Eat more. Urkins end hunger. Urkins come, try ruling us. But we rule Urkins. Take ships. Take monies. Rule Urkins and Permatians. Then hunt more diamond planets. Diamond creatures. We rulers. We feast every day. Yes.
Don't be stupid.
I spat, my heart racing as angrily as my mouth.
You'll be wiped out for even trying that. It's species like you that pissed off Marbog, and you're pissing me off too.
I brought out my pack legs.
Tell leaders.
The female said.
Tell. Go ahead. War with Permata means war with Permatians too. Permatians Urkin's friends. You hurt friends.
They're not my friends, and all I have to do is tell my leaders to execute only you.
Hard without hurting whole planet. Disturb lots. And Urkins never take portions. Always all of planet.
We'll make an exception.
Surrender Permatian child. Want the child.
He's not with me.
We know. Take child again. Bring.
Never.
All the Vajras around us began to snicker and close in, while the one speaking to me insisted.
Bring us Permatian child. Bring us Permatian children. Children stupid and weak. Easy to bring. Bring us Permatian children. We spare Urkin if bring.
I said never!
I let loose a blast from all 4 pack legs. Erosh joined me, opening fire with his laser vision, and even weapons now protruding from the top of his head. He seemed to agree that the Vajras deserved what we were giving them right now. I turned clockwise to ensure that every Vajra in this pack would take a hit. I then retreated immediately after, sprinting back to the beach. I heard Eros activate his jets, and I felt him grab me from under the arms and around the chest, with his chin on my right shoulder. I was yanked off the ground and suddenly going 50 miles an hour. I sensed no sign of any Vajras pursuing us. But even so, when we were halfway back 2 minutes later, I told Eros,
Stop. This should be good enough. I don't want your smoke trail to point the entire way.
Eros gradually decreased his speed, then set me and himself down on the forest floor. With the absent sound of his spitting rocket legs, I stood still for a moment, using the silence to listen for any wing beats or outraged voices in the distance. But there was nothing. I didn't let my guard down, though. I continued onward in a jog, with Eros at my heels. We soon found the ship, and didn't waste any time climbing on board. The cloaking device was still concealing it, giving me a boosted feeling of security. I panted for breath as I brought out my communicator and began making my urgent call to the tallest. As usual, the both of them were blank-faced when they answered.
Excuse me.
I sounded too panicked. I cursed myself for not taking the time to recollect myself before calling.
Syss,
Red said awkwardly.
you're shaking, soldier. Did something happen?
Nothing serious. I mean, not yet. I don't know. We got attacked today. I don't have the injuries anymore to prove it. It wasn't serious. I was able to fight. And just now, too. Eros and I just blew up a bunch of them. I don't know if they survived. They
This is what you get for giving them the chance. Those Permatians are clearly not on our side. You have to admit it now.
The Permatians didn't do this, my tallest. Vajras. They're called vajras. Vajras.
Calm down.
Purple said, disapproving of my overreaction.
It's not like your training was for nothing. What are you scared of? I'm not scared. I promise I'm not. I'm just a little excited. These creatures say they want to overthrow us, and eat us, and take everything we have. It's so strange how confident they are about it. They want a war. It's not their call. The Permatians are the superior ones here, but the Vajras don't seem to care. They're the ones not on our side. Put them on the list, but not the Permatians. Can we do that?
No, I don't think so.
I know that's not how it usually works, but the Permatians still have a chance, I believe that. The Vajras, definitely not.
It's either everyone on the planet or no one.
Red declared.
And all of these guys so far are against us. That's the best and only reason we need to label them as enemies and put them in their place.
Not all of them are against us.
I tried to reason.
The child I told you about, he's still with me. He's still telling me more. We need him.
That's not good enough anymore.
Purple said curtly.
You're invading Permata now, okay? If you need, we can get the planet checkers to help you when they're available. Good luck preparing the planet, soldier, and hurry up.
No!
I tried to beg, but the tallest had already hung up. I shook my head helplessly for a long moment, staring at the screen of static in front of my face. Finally, I hung up as well. Those damn Vajras ruined everything, Eros.
This would be easier to do if they had their own separate planet.
The Permatians shouldn't deserve an invasion. Why do I think that? This hesitation is because of guff, isn't it? Eros, what's wrong with me? I didn't get a response from my little sir. Perhaps he had mixed feelings too. I sighed deeply. What am I even saying? I willingly brought myself to this point, so I must deal with it. And now it's happening. I am a full-fledged invader now.